What's up, guys? Chris with Crop CNC and CNC for Newbies here. I wanted to go live and show you guys something that I've been working on with another client. As you guys know, I got my machines back up and running, and I'm doing some cutting now and everything. I've been working with some clients in the jewelry field and trying to figure out some things, some work process for them that I'm implementing in my home shop. And I thought it would be really good to show you guys how I kind of went about the process and how you guys can use these ideas to make a 2D ring setup that then if you have a rotary axis, you can finish, you could do finish carving and stuff on the outside of the ring. Obviously I'm using my CNC for Newbies, either my 4896 or my 3636 UC CNC machine. So I actually have 5-axis on it. Makes things a lot easier for me. However, if you have a regular 3-axis machine, you can still do the same process. You can still do the same process. You just have to kind of be cognizant of how you're manipulating the wood, the machinable wax, and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and open up I'm going to be using a Spire. You can do all the stuff that I'm doing. You can actually do on VCarve, CNC softwares. Let's go to Spire 11. Okay. So you can do this in pretty much any of the softwares. Share screen, window, Aspire, share. Okay. So first things first, as you can see, I was working on a rotary setup. We could do double-sided if we wanted. Let's say we have a 4x4. Actually, let's do a 4x6. 6x4, because I have some Coca-Cola wood that I'm gonna machine some rings out of. Okay, machine bed. Let's go material surface. Okay, we're gonna set that. We could set that in the center. That works. That's our flip. Okay. All right. Very first thing I want to do is I need to be able to locate this thing. So let's go in here and stretch this across. 4x6. Close. We're going to offset that. Let's say 0.75 inches inwards. Okay. We'll delete that. Now, first things first, I want to pull a center line there. Okay. So the whole purpose of doing this grid system is so I kind of know where I'm going to place my locating dowels, so that when I flip, my material, um, I'm basically lined right up where I need to align, so that the rings align in the right position based off of these dowel holes. Okay, so I have a border area here. I'm going to use, let's say I'm going to use 1/4 inch wooden dowels to locate my part. So I made an outside ring or an outside rectangle. I offset it 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to put a uh, a midline here that's going to give me a center mark, and then I'm going to put a 1/4 inch circle there and there. And all that's going to do is set up my machining uh, for the dowel holes. That way, when I put the wood on the machine, I have it all aligned. Um, I can basically drill my dowel holes, align my material, then I'll carve, then I'll flip it, aligning those dowel holes again, and that will align the material on the backside. Um, Cool thing, I was just on a round table with Bull from the Make and Mark Lindsay and Kyle Ely from Learn Your CNC. Um, and those guys were talking about some stuff. And Mark was actually talking about how he's really into double sided machining right now. This is actually going to take this a little step further because we're going to do some double sided machining with tabs that's going to hold everything. And then once we have those tabs, we'll drill through those tabs and you'll be able to mount it on a fixture and actually do um, 3-axis machining with the ring vertical, and you'll be able to carve the top sides, which is something really cool. Okay, so now we need to get some alignment. We did 0.75. Half of 0.75 is 3/8, which is 3.75. Um, we're going to select this and this. We're going to offset it. Okay, we can delete this, delete this, delete this, delete this. Uh, we can trim this, we can trim this, we can trim this, we can trim this. Okay. Only reason why we're doing that is so that we can put a circle at 0.25. I'm going to align one there, and I'll align one there. We'll delete that. Okay. Now this is my basic design setup. All right. Um, we can do a lot of really cool things here by having this setup. But one of the things that I'm really excited about is we will be able to maintain alignment for the rings. Okay, so now I need to import my 3D model of my ring, which you can find all kinds of 3D models on Etsy, out on the internet, on Thingiverse, on you name it, you can find it. It's really that cool. Um, and just by downloading them and importing them and uh, arranging them a certain way, you'll be able to cut them on your 3-axis machine. Uh, as long as you have the clearance for the material. Um, so we're going to do this, and now I'm going to go over here to modeling. I'm going to import a model and have this skull ring. Okay, so I need to I need to figure out how to align this ring how I want it. And then I also have to size this ring. So let's center the model. Okay, this is really big for what we want. So first things first, let's go to the front. There we go. Okay, so I have that aligned the way that I want right there. And my Z is up in the air. And I need that to be, let's say 0.8. Okay. Um, and we're going to import, we're going to import that. It's right in the center. Go to 2D view. So right now that's basically right in the center, and the machine is going to be coming down towards this. So we're actually in the topical view of Z. So it's going to come down and it's going to cut. All right. So at this point, we can actually get the whole outline of the ring, top and bottom, just by putting a block of wood on there, machining our dowel holes, and then putting dowels in there, and then aligning it. And once we align it, then it's just a regular 3-axis machine process, X, Y, and Z. We will then flip it over and 3-axis machine the other side. And because of the dowel pins, it should be completely aligned with no issue. Then the magic happens after all of this. Okay. So one of the things that I am going to do right now is I'm going to go back to drawing. I am going to, we're going to zoom in on this. I'm going to take a measurement from here to here. And we've got ourselves 4787. Okay. So I know what this ring opening is here. And what I'm going to do is go to 0.4787. And I'm going to put a ring. And you can see that it doesn't really match up. So I just select the ring and I use my arrow buttons to kind of get it in where I want it. Okay, that's pretty much close enough. So now I can move this whole assembly until the center section of this hole is centered up on the crosshairs there. Not anything major. It just makes things easier for me. So now zoom in. Okay, we're pretty good there. Now I'll strike a line, make sure that crosshair is there. Okay, so my ring is pretty damn good. I like that a lot. Okay, but we're going to be dealing with 2 rings here in a little bit. So I'm going to show you guys how I do just the one. Okay, so I can pretty much delete that information. Okay, and at this point, I could literally write a file for this. So we could go over to toolpaths, select, we'll do a roughing. I want 2.175. That's the gap above the model. Let's see here. We'll take, we're going to say 0.205. Actually, sorry, we're going to take 0.2133 minus 0.205, 0.0833. So we'll take 0.205 plus 0.0083, and that will give me 0.2133. So I need to make my gap above 0.2133. Okay. I'll go ahead and do it right there. I'll just split it in the middle, because the way the ring is actually cut on both sides, it's going to be a little bit different because it has a jawbone that comes down, so it's longer on one side than the other. Everything looks good there. Okay. Let's go back over here. I'm going to do a modeling. I'm going to select it. I'm going to do a vector boundary. I'm going to ungroup those. I'm going to expand that out. I'll offset. Yeah, let's offset it 0.375. All right. So what I'm going to do is I will create a rectangle. And remember, guys, there are tons of ways to do this. This is one of those situations where I would love to have somebody like Mark Lindsay on board with this project, so we could actually figure out a pretty easy set of instructions for you guys, because I just do this stuff the way that I know how to do it, and it's not necessarily the best way. So I'll set that by 0.525. All right. Offset failed. Check vectors for loops, crossings. So let's go to vector validator. Everything's closed there. Let's go to join. It's closed. Why is it not offsetting? There. Okay. So I did a vector boundary box around this just so we can cut down on machining time, but also give enough clearance for our roughing tool, which I'm going to use a 1/4 inch. Why? Just because. Okay. So now that's what that's going to give me. Okay. And you say, well, why? Well, because it's a 1/4 inch. It's a rougher. Now we're going to go back and I'm going to offset this inside. We're going to go 0.255 inwards, offset, close. Back over here, we're going to use a 0.5 millimeter radius tapered ball nose, and that's what you're going to end up with for the cut. You say, but Chris, that's really weird because you left that center section. So this is one of the things that a lot of people will get hung up on is how do you do this center section? There are a couple ways you can do it. I actually utilize the center section myself as a mandrel to hold my rings. Okay. And what I do is because I'm working with the Spire and I can make this available for you guys, I will actually utilize this to cut and hold. But if you were not going to do that, if you were just going to use 2 rubber plugs to hold the ring in place to be able to Z machine this side, you could literally just cut this opening out. So if we go over here and we know where we want to put this, like that, close, and we could actually do a pocket. We'll remove that. We'll make that, oh, let's say we've got a 1.5 inch cutting diameter. Let's go 1.020, 20 thousandths deeper. Make sure we cut through all the way. Conventional cut, I always do a ramp. My pocket allowance, I'm going to do, let's say, 30 thousandths. And I'm going to calculate. So that clears out that hole for me. But it's still 30 thousandths too big. Okay. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to do a profile. And I'm going to do 1.020. I'm going to select Form tools. What the hell happened to all my tools? You'll have to excuse me. I've been doing some modifications. Okay, there we go. Select. Okay. This one we're going to do inside conventional pocket allowance. We did 30 thousandths. Now we're going to do, let's say we're going to do 10 thousandths allowance. We're going to ramp. We're going to do 1 inch. We're going to calculate, and we're sneaking up on the size that we want. So we're going to do one more profile. Allowance is 0. We're going to add a ramp, 1 inch, and we're going to calculate, and that's just going to skim that inside. So now we can actually take this, move it up, take this, move it up, and take this and move it up. So now we pretty much have what we need. Let's go back to roughing. We're going to go selected vector. I'm going to clear out. I'm going to go to selected vector. I'm actually going to do a raster angle of 45 degrees and calculate. Okay, so we'll reset preview. We're going to preview all toolpaths. And there's half of our ring. Okay. All right, so we've got this side is pretty much done. We're now going to flip it, and we don't have anything on the back side. You say, what's going on here? Well, none of that stuff is transferred, so we need to make copies so that the back side is good. So now we close those off. We go over here and we take all of this and we copy it to the other side. And now we have that. This part is going to be the part that needs some work, because right now we're still on the underside of the jaw. We need the top side of the ring at this point. So now I go back to modeling, and I can import that ring, center model, that'll be down like that, and we do 0.5. Oh, apply center model import and import that. Now we go back to 2D. I can translate this. .6022.7728. The reason why I didn't create both sides is because when I do this, I may want to make a change for the taper and modify it that way. If you wanted to, you could actually do an import. Whenever you do an import, center model back 0.5. Yes. Okay. If you click this box here, it will create both sides of the model for you, and that's definitely a way to go for you guys that have vcarve rather than Aspire, or that are getting used to doing this. It will actually create both sides of the file for you rather than you modifying and changing what you want where you're at. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to translate it. We're going to go 0.6022 .7728. We're going to apply that. We're going to close. We're going to align on that ring. Okay. Okay. That looks good. All right. Let's highlight that. We'll delete that one. We'll move that ring. Okay. All right, so now we have the modeling information for the top side of the ring. I have it transitioned the way that I want it. There's going to be a little bit of difference from side A to side B, but I'm not worried about that because I'm actually going to machine it in a rotary axis after to get the details on the top side surface and where those two halves meet. All right, so now we're going to take this, we're going to do a roughing pass, selected vector, calculate, and we'll close. We'll do that. We'll do selected vector. We'll close. Okay. That's going to be nice. Okay, and that'll give me the ring that I need with the two-sided setup. And it's literally that easy to get your ring top and bottom. Um, now you know you have a setup here, and you can actually do a profile cut and profile cut this. And you have a center ring that you can locate a mandrel in. And a mandrel is just a round dowel that has tapers and pushes in on the ring to hold it in place for you. And that will allow you to position this and cut the front side surface. Okay. Um, Another way you can do this, there, like I said, there are tons of ways. You could actually machine the ring top and bottom, and then drill through here on locate the face of the ring that's pointing down right now. You could have that pointing up towards Z, and you could cut through the material right here, and that'll give you your 3D carve on the front face. So a lot of this happens through orientation, not necessarily through um, machining, but orientating the wood to be machined. So you guys can, or machinable plastic, machinable wax, stuff like that. For me, I use machinable wax because I can cast it. But there are a bunch of ways you can machine this. So now at this point, I can actually go in and I could profile cut around this and get what I need to for information to align the ring itself where I need it. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it. You just kind of have to find what works for you. Another thing that I do, I've come up with doing, is locating tabs. I'll run tabs off of this, and I'll machine all the way down through, leaving the tabs, and then I'll nip the tabs real close. I'll use this point as my 0 point for a rotary. So once I have that established, I'll put the ring in my rotary. I'll align everything, and then I'll cut the surface. So that's a cheap, easy way to be able to do rings, jewelry with 3D carving. The next order of business, as I said, would be aligning this vertical, horizontal, however you might do it. And with the tabs, that works out really nice because I can mark on this before I remove it. I can actually mark on the ring itself where the top and bottom and two sides of the jewelry are. And because of that, I can then do a pretty damn close perfect alignment for the rotary or the repositioning. So for this, if I was doing this part in particular, I would probably uh, go in and machine. I would leave a block on the outside for center alignment, and I would go in. I would machine this backside. I would flip it 90 degrees. I would machine this side. I would flip it opposite 180 degrees, machine this side, and then, because this is the most important face to me, I would then flip that 90 degrees and machine the top surface getting all the detail. And then I would just go in with a little rotary burr on a Dremel. I would clean it up. I would use my file and get it cleaned up the best that I want it. And then I would sprue it in for metal casting. So that's a quick, easy way to do it. Sounds kind of long and drawn out, but once you get the hang of it, it'll kind of go something like this. All right. Let's delete that. Let's go over here. Delete that. Delete that. Delete that. Delete that. Okay. All right, so I'm basically going to start in here. I've got my board set up. I'm going to import this. I know I want it about 0.8 thick. We're going to center our model. We're going to put it to the front. We're going to center. I want it 0.855 thick. Position and import. Create both sides. Okay, and this is how you get the alignment for both sides. So we go back to 2D. I'm going to go to modeling, select this, create vector boundaries, ungroup. I'm going to go to drawing. I will offset. Let's make that 0.375. Outwards, offset, close. We're then going to offset this again. We'll offset that by 0.25. Outwards. Okay, we're going to go over. I'm going to take this. I'm going to do a pocket. On that pocket, okay, there's that. Click OK. Pocket. We're going to do a roster. No, we'll do an offset on that. Pocket allowance 030. Calculate. That's going to machine through. We're going to then do a profile. We're going to inside machine, allowance offset 0.01. We're going to add a ramp. We're going to calculate. And now we're going to do one more profile on add ramps, no pocket allowance. And that allows you to sneak up on that last little piece there. Now our hole should be right where we want it, how we want it. Now we're going to go to 2D. We're going to go to roughing, 1/4 inch end mill, machining allowance. Let's bump that up to 30 thousandths just to do it. Okay, selected vector. There's our vector. We're going to calculate. Okay, now we're going to go through. We're going to do a finish on this side. Selected vector. We're going to calculate. And that's what we end up with on this side. Okay. So that's that. One thing I should mention is I'm going to rename these just because that's how I like to do it. Okay, that's our roughing strategy. I do need to machine in these dowel holes. We'll just do quick pockets on those. Ramp. Calculate that. There. Now that's actually what's going to allow me to flip that forward and back and go from there. Cool stuff. Looking in wallet to vectoric, I just have to make the jump to it to really get the most out of my machine. Nolan, I highly recommend you hop in there and do it. It's worth it. I got to tell you, it's worth it. I love it. Wish I would have done it a long time ago. Now I won't be without it. Okay, guys, so we have this all taken care of here. Now I can flip sides, and I have my 3D view. That hole's already going to be machined through. We know that. And let's start let's transfer this and this. We'll copy to the other side, close, flip. Okay. We're going to select that vector. We're going to rough. Go to 2D, select that vector, and finish. And that will give me my cut. And then I can actually go through and I could cut this as a rectangle and be able to align it on the machine to do my top and bottom machining itself. That's simple. There you go, guys. All right, have a good one. Peace.